Hey guys, welcome back to the Plant-Based Chow. So I know that some of you may have missed a video last week wondering what was going on. So last week was a very hectic week, so I didn't get to it. I'm very sorry, but my goal is to have a video up at least once a week, and it will always be posted either on Saturday or Sunday. But let's get to it because I am showing you guys the most wonderful recipe ever, okay? I think we've eaten this so many times because we all love it so much, and I'm really happy that my kids love it because it has to do with the wonderful eggplant. So today we're going to make eggplant parmesan. One of my favorite things that I would always get at Olive Garden when we used to go there all the time. But I've found a recipe that I really enjoy, and actually I think it's way better than Olive Garden. So I already have some things prepared here, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through everything that I've done so far. So also today Jericho is on the camera again, my son, so if things are a little different again, that's why, but bear with us here. So in our first bowl, you're gonna set up 3 stations, and in our first bowl it's just going to be flour. I always start out with about 1/2 cup of flour. This time we're making a pretty small batch. I usually make much more than this, so that's why I usually start with 1/2 cup of flour. Also before I move on, this is unbleached regular white flour. I'm just using it this time more so because I need to get rid of all of my white flours. I'm trying to get rid of all those and just incorporate more of the whole wheat flours and the just other flours other than white that are more healthy. And then in our second bowl here, can you see that well, Jericho? Can you see it for him? Come on, zoom on in. So this is just almond milk, and it is 1/2 cup with 1 teaspoon of arrowroot powder. So it kind of makes that milk a little bit thicker. And then here, you can see that, here we have panko crumbs. You can use breadcrumbs, but panko is going to give you that crunch that you really want and just makes so much of a difference. The breadcrumbs are going to be more soft and kind of mushy, where this is really going to give you that crunch. So it has, the panko in here is about 1.5 cups of panko, 2 teaspoons of oregano, and 1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And also I wanted to explain real quick, I believe I've showed you guys this before, the nutritional yeast powder, but I've never really explained it. So if you are new to a whole food plant-based diet, then you might not know what nutritional yeast is. It's basically just a deactivated yeast. So it's usually grown on, what did they grow it on? I forget exactly what they grow it on, but anyway, and then after it's grown, it's taken off and it's heated up to kind of kill it or deactivate it. And what this does, it gives you a really nutty or cheesy flavor to your foods, and so that's why it's like really big with vegans or the whole food plant-based diet, because it gives you that cheese flavor that everybody wants, right? So that's what nutritional yeast is. And then what we do is I'm going to give you a little example here with one of my little pieces of eggplant that I have left. So first you're going to just put it in here with the flour. Jericho, go ahead and come on here and get a good up close of this. So you're going to coat the piece of eggplant very well with flour. Then you're going to dip it into your milk mixture. Dip it off there. And then of course into your breadcrumbs. Right? Mush them on there really good, or panko. And then we are going to put it on our baking sheet, and we'll just kind of squish this one on here. All right. So that is that. That's how you do that. And so as you see, I have a whole tray of them already made, already prepared for us. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to put these in the oven for about 10 minutes. And then I'll show you the next step that's pretty important to make this whole recipe as good as it is. So we will be right back after I pull these guys out of the oven. All right, guys, we're back. And real quick, before we get into our eggplant out of the oven over there, while we were on our little bit of a break, I looked up, because it was bothering me because I couldn't remember, the nutritional yeast is grown on molasses. It's a single cell organism. And I have no idea how to pronounce it. But there's your science class for today. There's the spelling of it and what it all is. And then it's washed and dried in heat to deactivate it, like I said before. So there it is. That's what's up with nutritional yeast. Also, I didn't tell you that the oven needs to be on 400 degrees when you are baking your eggplant for the 10 minutes. So for now, come on over here and let's show you what our next step is. So I'm going to pull this out of the oven. And set them here. Now, as you notice, I have this pot or this pan here. I have grape seed oil in here. And I didn't really measure it. What I did is can you come in here, Jericho, and just see, because this is a really light oil. So it's just kind of a very thin layer on the pan, covering the bottom of the pan. I will more than likely have to add more into it later, but for now, that's what we're going to start out with. So I'm just going to turn this on a medium high heat to get it nice and warm. Then take these guys, and actually, I always find that using a fork is almost easier with this. So I'm going to grab a fork real quick. Grab my macho fork. And what we're going to do is we are just going to put these in there for like 2 minutes on each side. Just enough to where they're nice and brown, but not to where it absorbs so much oil to where they're just greasy and flimsy and floppy and all that kind of stuff. Because that's not what we really want. We're just really looking for that nice crunch. So this should be pretty warm, hopefully. And so let's see. I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit more, because you don't want to put it in the oil too soon when it's not hot enough, because then it has to sit in the oil for longer to get that crunch, and then it starts to absorb the oil more. And so really I probably put it in there just a little bit too soon for that one. But it's starting to bubble, so I'm going to go ahead and put my other ones in. So I'm going to put as many in here as I can at one time. Now I just have to be careful, because I always mess up and get my oil too hot, and then my whole house is full of smoke and the smoke detectors are going off. Yes, I'm that kind of cook. So, alright, I got my pan full. I turned my heat up just enough to get these to start bubbling, and then I just turned it right back down again, because like I said, I don't want to start overdoing it here. So just real quick, while these are getting brown on this side, as you see, I have a pot over here, and this is just a pot of water that I have going for my pasta that we are going to throw over some sauce. So you can use any type of pasta that you want. This is brown rice pasta, and this is actually this is penne. So that's what we're using tonight. A lot of times I just use the regular spaghetti noodles. So these are good and brown on that side. So Jericho, if you can give them a look here, it's just lightly brown, just like that. Just enough. You don't want to overdo these babies, because then they just kind of become kind of yucky. this is great so far. I'm not having to add any more oil, which is good, because really trying to prevent adding any oil, any extra oils that doesn't need to be added. So then after these are baked, or after these are lightly browned on this side, we're actually going to put them back in the pan, on the baking pan, and put them back in the oven for about another 10 to 15 minutes from there. So yeah, these are already done on that side. So they're already nice and browned, and real quick I'm going to toss these other two in here. So my kids never liked eggplant before, and when we actually would eat this at the Olive Garden, when we would go there, my kids wouldn't even try it there at all. But I don't even remember how I bribed them into trying it at home, but they did, and they loved it, and now it's one of our favorite dishes. And it was one of those that we really ate a lot of during our transition in the beginning. And so we actually haven't had it in a long time because we had it so much we almost got sick of it for a little bit. But it's been a while, and we all kind of been having that old creeping craving back of Olive Garden. So I said, hey, why don't I just make some eggplant parmesan tonight? And so that's what we're doing. Alright, these last two are getting nice and brown, and I'm going to arrange them on the sheet, baking sheet. So, have you guys tried any of the other recipes that I've posted so far? Are they helping you out or anything like that? If so, make sure that you put a comment underneath here. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. I just want to know, am I helping you guys out any? Because that's my goal with this, is just to help people in their transition. Alright, so these are good. I turned my heat off, and these are going to go back into the oven. See, look how nice and crispy those are now. And they're not soggy. Like when I put my fork in it, they're still like, really like, not undone, but they have that bite to them, if you know what I mean. So those are going to go back in there for about another 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I'll check them at 10 minutes and then decide if I like them at that point. Basically, you just have to decide how soft you want them. Do you want them to have a little bit more of a bite to them, or do you want to have them really soft? So when you make that decision, you can decide, okay, do I need to leave them in there for 10 minutes or 15 minutes? So I will let that go, and we'll be back again. Alright guys, here it is. So it's all plated. We've got the eggplant on top of our pasta. And I made up just a simple salad with just kale and some curly leaf lettuce and fresh tomatoes from our garden and cucumber. And then I topped it with a cilantro dressing. You see in here, the lighting's kind of bad. It looks disgusting from in there. But on the salad you can see that it's a pretty light green dressing. And I got that recipe from the Forks Over Knives cookbook. That has been awesome so far. So anyway, that's it guys. Try it, like it, let me know what you think about it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And I will see you guys next week.
Okay. Oh, it's been so long.
It's so good. Eggplant is nice and crispy.
So good.
Jericho didn't even get any noodles on his plate.
Well, I didn't have any room. Bye.
Bye.